Hey DIYers, George here from Alarm Grid. Today I'm going to be going over the default master code on your 2GIG Edge security system. So just to start off, the default master code for any 2GIG system is always going to be 1111, just as the installer code is always going to be the same for every 2GIG system, which is typically 1561. Now, if you're trying any of the codes, the master code or the installer codes, and they're not working, it could be one, the previous owner of the system may have changed the codes, or two, the company that you're with may have changed the codes on you. Now, to understand, there is a difference between a master code and installer code. I don't know how many times I speak to somebody and they say, I ask them if they know the installer code to the system, and they say yes, they know it. An installer code and a master code are two complete different codes. Installer code is usually used to go into deeper level programming on the system so that you can configure some deeper level settings. And the master code is usually what you use to arm and disarm the system. It's usually used by the main person on the system. So there's only one master code, there's only one installer code, and then there's a whole bunch of other sub-user codes that you can make for your family, friends, neighbors, pet sitters, cleaning, anyone that needs access to your home and you need to give them a code. Those are sub-users, but there are only two significant codes on a 2GIG system, and those would be the master and the installer code. And today what we're doing is, or checking, is the master code. Now, the default master code for the 2GIG Edge, like I said, is 1111. Now, this is the code that you typically are going to use to arm and disarm the system with, not what you use to go in and program doors, windows, or change deeper level settings. That's what you use the installer code for, and that's typically also what you need to run cellular tests whenever you're activating a 2GIG system, whether it's the Edge, the GC3, the GC2, or the GC2E and the GC3E, which are the encrypted versions of those panels. Now, the master code, it's usually changed just because the master code is a security risk, leaving it as 1111, because anybody with a master code can come in and disarm your security system. So if your system has the default master code 1111, if somebody comes in and uses that code and that code was never changed, they can technically bypass your system. So you want to make sure the master code is changed. The installer code, that one is not a huge security risk. You cannot disarm you cannot disarm the alarm system with the installer code if a normal code has been used. Basically, the only time you can disarm with the installer code is if it's been armed with the installer code. If you guys quickly want to see real fast, my codes are defaulted right now, right? So if I do arm away, I can disarm, and I'm going to use my master code 1111. System disarmed. It takes a little picture in the front. That's what the little camera up here is for. And if you guys have service, that picture will get sent to alarm.com. Now, watch what happens if I do an arm away and I try using the installer code to disarm. I disarm. The default installer code 1561. Access not authorized. So like I said, that code, you normally want to change it. You don't want to leave it the same. Typically, it's something that is done on a normal setup, is usually changed to whatever the main user wants, and then you add extra codes in there for any other family members or anyone else that needs access to it. If you guys want to know real quick how to change the master code, it's very simple. Well, one, you need to know the master code. So if you have your master code, perfect. Now, after this, what you're going to do, this little gear icon in the bottom right, give me a second here. Sorry, one of the other systems beeping. So, going back to the panel here, to change the master code, what you're going to go ahead and do, there's a little gear icon in the bottom right-hand corner. You're going to hit the gear icon. It's going to ask you for a code. Here, you can use your installer or your master code. I'm going to use my master code for today's video. I'm going to use 1111. After you do that, you have a field right here that's called users. If you hit users, you're going to see every single user that's in the system. For example, I have one tied into mine, George, and I actually set up my facial recognition and everything for it. But if you look at the master code here, the code right now, it's set to 1111. We obviously want to change that. So for today's video, we're going to hit the little pencil icon on the right side. Again, pencil icon. Like I said, there's only one master user. You can change the access code by selecting the arrow, and you can change the code. Let's say I want to change it to 4567. I hit next. It's going to ask me to confirm the code. 4567. Save. My master code is now 4567. You can enable facial recognition. You can do Bluetooth disarming. And the user number is set to 1. That user number does not get changed. Stays as 1 because it's the master user. Alright. After that, you just hit the back arrow key on the left here. Keep hitting the back arrow key all the way out. And now watch what happens. If I arm away, and let's say I'm somebody that is trying to use the default master code, 1111 should no longer work. Invalid access code. I'll use my new code, 4567. System disarmed. Now it's very important that if you guys change the master code, remember it. Alright? Do not forget it, because if you guys lose that code and you guys aren't monitored, you may have bricked yourselves out of the system. Alright, so if you don't have the installer code and if you forget your master code, you may have bricked the system, and at that point it might be hard to reset the codes. There is no master reset on this system, so make sure you memorize the codes, don't forget them. Set up facial recognition if you guys can. That way if you forget the codes, you can use your face. Alright, if you guys have any questions regarding the master code on the 2GigEdge security system, please feel free to send us an email to support@alarmgrid.com. If you found the video helpful, make sure you hit like underneath, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and hit the little bell icon so when we upload new content, you guys get notified. I'm George, and I'll see y'all next time.